Hello guys, welcome back. So in this tutorial we are going to allow a user to add, or you can say upload a story. Okay, when a user click on this add icon. Also the next thing that we will be doing is to retrieve and display the user picture here. So for that, first of all, what we need to do is let's just close the story adapter for now, and let's just create an activity. Right click on your package name, new activity, an empty activity, and let's just give this activity a name as add story activity. So our activity has been created successfully, and come here now, and first of all let's just change this constant layout. So it just involve in little bit loading. Anyways, change this to relative layout, and the next thing is come back to the add story activity. Now here we will write a code to upload the allow a user to go to mobile phone gallery, select a picture and upload it. So for that we will use the same thing, just with little bit changes, we have add post activity. Go to the add post activity, and let's start from here. So we have copy these things. Okay, control C, come back to the add story activity and paste that here. Now we have already write that code, so there is no need to waste time on writing it again. We just need to copy paste it and do the changes that is required. And also copy this, control C, come back to the add story and paste it inside the on create. And one thing which we need to do is remove this save new post btn line. Okay, so we have a storage reference. Let's change the name of this to storage story reference. So storage story reference, and it will be, we are going to create a separate folder inside the storage bucket, or you can say inside the Firebase storage, by the name story pictures, and inside the story pictures our all story pictures will be saved. And we are on the add story activity, and just change the ratio of this to 9:16, since it will be vertical images in the stories, long images. Then the next thing is to basically check the extension, but there is no need of it. Let me just, here we have the on activity result that we need. And here we need to call a function which is upload story. If we get the image successfully and we store it inside the image URI data type variable, we will call this function, which is by the name upload story. And in case if any error occur, then you can write else statement and display a toast message, that is something gone wrong or any error message you want to display to the user. So let's create this function. So come back to the add post, and here we have this function upload image. Now from here we have to check if the image URL is null. The same code. Let's just copy this code that we write here inside it, copy it and come back to the add story and paste that here. Now let's just come here and we need to do the changes. So if image URI is null, we are displaying this text, which is to please select image first. Okay, and then we do not have any text field, so remove this second line of code. else. Okay, so if this is not null, if the image is not null, it means the image has been selected. We are displaying the progress dialog, which is adding story. Please wait, we are adding your story. Adding or uploading, whatever the message you want to display the user, you can write here. So we have storage, story picture reference, and then upload task. Make sure to import this, which is this first one, continuation com Google Android GMS tasks. Okay, also import this on completion. And let me just confirm one thing, upload task, the rest of the thing is the same. If the task is successful, we are assigning the URL to my URL string type variable, and then here we need to basically do the changes. I mean, when saving the URL to the database. So for that we have a parent node story, okay? And I told you guys to use the same names because we are retrieving the number of stories on our home fragment by the same reference, which is story. Okay, so please make sure to use the same node names also, otherwise you will get confused and maybe your data will not be retrieving from the database in case. Now, as you know that on the home fragment we have had the condition which will only retrieve the stories whose are within the 24-hour. I mean, if, as you can see, if the time current is greater than the time start and if the time current is less than the time end, only then we increment and we just I mean at the counter, that is how much stories we have, and we are adding to the list, which is our story list. So here we need to basically get the time end first. So we can say, well, time end equals to system dot current time, and then to, I mean, increment it till the 1 day. That is, let's say now is the time, let's say Wednesday 12 a.m. Okay, I am, let's say, uploading a story. Okay, so it will be stored in the database and we are adding the time end, so we have to increment up to 1 day. That is next day 12 a.m. my story will be expired. Okay, and we will not retrieve that and display it on the home page for a user. As you know that the stories is basically all the stories from our from the followings. I mean, you can simply say our friends. So in order to add 1 day, we have to add 6, 4 and 5 times 0. Okay, now this will add an increment of 1 day. Let me add a comment here, 1 day. So it will add a 1 day later, it will add an increment of 1 day, which is the time end, and we have already added the condition which we'll check here. So anyways, this is the time end, and the time start is basically the time at which the user will upload, so we can get that easily by using the server value timestamp. So anyways, we need to now create a hash map which will be by the name story map. Let's just replace the values with it. So story map, the first one we have is the, I mean, the user ID. Now these are the same names that we used in our model, so make sure, that's why I told you guys to use the same names. Okay, user ID for uploading the user ID, I mean for adding the user ID, and to get the user ID we have to get it using the Firebase auth dot current user dot UID. And the second thing is the time start. So this is the user ID, then we have the time start, and in order to get the time start we can just say server value dot timestamp. and then we have the time int, which we already get in the variable by the name time int. Then the image. For the image, we have a variable by the name image URL. So image URL, my URL, okay, in which the image URL is stored. And then the last thing is basically the story ID. So the story ID is story ID, and the story ID is basically our this random key which we create at the story reference. Okay, so reference, which means story.push.key, it will create a key, a unique key, basically a unique key, and it will store inside this variable story ID. So this variable contains the story ID, and remove this, pass the story ID here also. Now if you get this red line, okay, which most of you guys will not get, it basically says that to convert this to string, okay, because story ID is a string. I mean, we have to convert this thing to a string. So let's just add dot to string here. That's it, okay. And then story ID dot to string. Or instead of this, you can even remove this dot to string from here. You can add this here. Just cut this, add round brackets, and then we can say dot to string. It will work in this way also. So anyways, reference dot child story ID, update children story map, and we are on the add story activity. And once the story is updated, we want to send the user to the main activity, start activity, and finish. Progress dialog dot dismiss. So yeah, that's it. And now let's just go back to our story adapter, and here we have to add a click listener and come here inside the one bind view holder. So by using this view holder type instance, we can say holder dot item view dot set on click listener, and then here in here we have to write an intent for sending the user from the if a user click on that add icon, we are going to send the user from the home to our add story activity. Context dot start activity, and by the way we have to pass the user ID alongside with it, so we can say intent dot put extra user ID story dot get user ID. This is just for now. I mean, obviously we will add some conditions when we will be retrieving and displaying the stories of other other from the other persons, I mean our friends, that is from the followings. But for now we are just sending the user to the add story activity, and we do not need this. I mean, we are not receiving this here, but we will be needing this maybe in the next video tutorial, okay, so that's why. The next thing is also to retrieve and display the user information, I mean user picture, on the add story image view. So for that, what we're gonna do is, I think on the user adapter we have already created a function by the name get user info. Not here, it is maybe on the profile fragment, I guess. Yes, this one, private fun user info. Just copy this function, Control C, close this, come back to the story adapter, and on the story adapter at the bottom, let's just pass this. Now this function will receive parameters. One is the view holder, which will be of type view holder, comma, the second one is the user ID, which will be of string type, and the third parameter it needs is the position, which will be of integer type. So we create a reference, user reference to the users node, where we have to pass this user ID, which we receive in this method as a parameter, and then user reference add value event listener. If this exists, then we picasso.get.load user.getImage, the placeholder into the our view holder dot story image, and I mean remove the remaining things. Okay, so we are displaying this. Otherwise, if the position is not equals to 0, as you know that at 0th position it means that this is an online user and he is going to see his, I mean the add story item layout that we created, and other than 0 it means the other users stories. So for that, what we're gonna do is copy this and we can just paste that here, and story photo scene, story image scene, and also we have to display the story username alongside with that. By the way, in Kotlin we can also write just text user dot get user name, and then we have to call this function user info here in our onBind view holder. So we can just call that here user info and pass the parameter to it, the holder, then the story dot get user ID and the position. So yeah, that's it. Now let's just run the application. So the app is running now successfully. Here you can see it will display your image, I mean the user who is online basically. Okay, so Muhammad Ali is online now and display the image here. So let's just quickly click on this add icon. So let's just select any picture. So here you can see this is the crop image feature. Let's just select and then click on crop. Adding story, please wait, we are adding your story. Post uploaded successfully. By the way, you can change the toast message to your choice. Okay, now if we just go to the database, here you can see we have story. Okay, then the unique key for each story information, image URL, story ID, the time and time start. Okay, these figures basically represents the time. Hopefully you know about this. And then we have the user ID. If we go to the storage, here you can see we have the story pictures. If I show you, then this is the image that we just uploaded. So yeah, and as I told you, if you want, you can change the toast messages on the add story activity, which is basically, I mean, easy thing to do. I mean this thing. Okay, instead of just saying post uploaded, since you know that this is story, so we can say that story has been uploaded successfully. So yeah, in this tutorial we just allow user to upload and add story to the Firebase storage and to the Firebase real-time database. Now the next thing is that in the next tutorial we will retrieve, we have already retrieved, I mean adding the stories on the home fragment. In the previous tutorial, when we say here at the bottom, we have already added that to the story list. Now in the next video we will just display it, okay, here on this here on our this recycler view for the displaying the stories. So yeah, hopefully you understand everything. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.